welcome to today's Neo Spotlight. And today we're going to put the spotlight on a very interesting company, CoinSmart, that listed with us. What is it now, Justin? A couple of months ago.
November the 2nd. I remember.
Yeah, it's still very, very fresh in my mind, and we have the pleasure to have founder and CEO Justin Hartzman with us to talk about CoinSmart and much more. Justin, very welcome to Neo Spotlight, and I'm very much looking forward to this conversation.
Thanks, Joss. Listen, I'm very excited to be here with you. I know we've established a great relationship over the last, whatever, it's 9 months, a year almost at this point. A lot to be thankful for you guys and all the help that you've done, and look forward to having this conversation today, telling a little more CoinSmart, the crypto market as a whole, and just having a nice conversation today.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think that is part of building the future of finance and enabling the innovation economy. That is that we're doing things that are different. And I'm talking about you and your organization as much as ours. And that means that, we have to work together because we're changing things and changes.
And we run a similar business, don't we, Joss? We run a similar business, right? We're a crypto asset trading platform. We're not an exchange where you're an exchange, but we have a very similar function.
No, absolutely. And that creates a lot of proximity also. So, Justin, let's start with the first question. The first question is not going to zoom in on your organization, but I'd love to get a bit your take on what's happening in the cryptocurrency market. Like we've all observed, of course, what's been happening in the last few weeks. What is your take on that, and how do you see things evolving?
Well, we can look at it at the macro level here in different ways. So let's start with before the end of the year. You have people who are taking some losses in places where they needed to. There's lots of gains across the board in different asset classes. In totality, if there was something that you had a loss on, you might want to have realized that beforehand. So we saw some sell-off then. We have a market de-risking happening in the new year right now, which is normal course. January is usually a busier month in all asset classes, but it seems there's a risk off happening now due to the fact that there's so much uncertainty going on in this world and around us. And I think that's par for the course of all markets. It definitely affecting us more. But in the crypto market, volatility as a exchange is super important, and I think that you recognize that as well. The more there's volatility, whether it's up or whether it's down, we just want it going up and down all the time because that creates more volume, that creates more revenues. So it's interesting for us. We've seen put out some pretty interesting numbers, but macroly, I think that we're in a spot in the market that's a lot of price discovery that's happening right now. We're going to see a lot more institutional buyers coming into the market in a very quick period of time. I think that there's more pick and axes in place to allow that to happen. And it's becoming more mainstream in every day. Just look at the Google searches that are happening. So I think that we will see some upwards movement in adoption. What that looks on pricing, I'm not going to make that prediction, but I think the market is set for some really good appreciation.
No, and I think you brought it back without saying it, but you brought it back already to your organization. And who am I not to agree with you? Running an exchange, yes, volatility is volume, is activity, and that of course is always something that a marketplace, whether you're in the crypto space or the digital asset space, or you are in the more classical view of life. That is what we care about. I've got a few more comments on this, but what I would like to do is tell to our audience, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and I will make sure to put it forward to Justin, either as part of a discussion we're having or to start a new topic. And if something is not tackled during this discussion today, we'll make sure that Justin gets back to you afterwards. But coming back to your earlier point, I totally agree. We are in a period where there is tremendous uncertainty in the markets, and the biggest indicator for me is always when you look at the VIX, the volatility index, which has been peaking recently, and look at the morning. I look at the futures of the various indices, and then I look at the close, and usually it goes either up or down dramatically in the morning, and it comes back at the end of the day. So lots of volatility, and indeed people de-risking and going into some areas that are safer harbors. But at the same time, lots of activity, lots of volume, which is a good thing. But
And
let's
there's also,
let's
also the political climate that's going on in the U.S. right now, and in in the Eastern world with Russia and stuff going on. So I think that uncertainty is playing in a role in all this at the same time.
yeah, no, there's a big convergence of events for the moment. That is true. Macroeconomic, political, or geopolitical is probably the right word to use, and that has an impact on the markets. So let's move to CoinSmart, and you say good impact on your market. What does it mean? Like, it's January been already an exceptional month compared to previous experiences, or the past, I should say.
Yeah, I think that we're going to put up some, we've put up some record months in the past. I think, we'll see a great first quarter this year. That's not only coming from more activity in the market, but with our scaling that's happening at the same time, not only here in Canada, but through European nations, and later in the first half into Latin America. And what that's doing is not only creating a larger total addressable market for us out there and having more customers, and rather than just in the Canadian landscape, but that also allows us, based on our regulatory status in each of these countries, to offer a larger set of products. And what we're really trying to do is achieve, we stand for something very singularly: making cryptocurrency accessible. How do we get the crypto curious into the market, help educate them, level them up to be active crypto ecosystem players? Well, not only do we want to help do that, but as we're doing that, we want to create the product offering that keeps them within this one house, the CoinSmart house, to offer all those items that they need. So instead of coming to us, because really, I'm getting all over the place here, but we as an exchange, as a centralized exchange, are the pick and axe for everything that goes on in the crypto market. You can't have DeFi, you can't have NFTs, you can't have the metaverse and all these things that are going on in significant amounts without having on and off ramps. And the idea is, let's not only be the on and off ramp, let's continue adding product sets where, instead of them leaving our trusted, safe environment where they're putting their hard-earned dollars to do it, let's keep them here by offering them products, whether it's lending and staking down the road, NFT platform, metaverse projects that we're working on, and really keep it as a singular, holistic approach to, the financial institution of the future, with crypto as the underpinning of it all.
Yeah. And I think you're answering a couple of questions that already emerged. But for the people who don't know you that well, in a couple of points, what do you do today, and what do you expect to launch as new services and products? And you covered a bit of it, but be very clear so people really see it. What do you do today? What do you expect to launch in the next 12 months?
Well, yeah, and I think it comes down to us being regulatory compliant as the underpinning or the basis of everything that we do. That's the foundation. And I think if we didn't take that from day one, we probably wouldn't be sitting where we are today. If we took clients from every jurisdiction, we offered every product under the sun. And that definitely stammered early growth. But what we've done by going the regulatory approach is the foundation for up into the right growth into the future. And I think that's the key aspect. So what we are today in Canada is very defined by what the regulatory status is of marketplace. And what we do offer is spot trading. We have FX services if you want to do FX trading. We have an OTC desk for institutional buyers and active traders. We have advanced trade, which gives you multiple different options for trading as you would on any other, typical asset platform. And we do crypto invoicing, and that's a really big piece where we're growing in Canada right now, which is great. And we have some really cool opportunities coming on as regulation in other industries are changing at the same time, where we can go and be the backbone. Instead of people using, credit cards or email money transfers anymore, why aren't they using crypto to pay for things? And that was a big piece of our business last year. Somewhere in the range of $1.5 million to $2.5 million in revenue came from our processing alone. So that's a place that we'll spend some more time here. We see that the regulators are working with us now in a great way, and there's options that we bring in other products, whether it might be staking sooner than later or a lending product if done right, but that might involve IROC getting involved in a short period of time. So that's kind of where we're stuck here. But that's why we have geographically expanded, and Europe was the number one space. And what we have is our FIU license out of Estonia, which gives us passport to 40 plus European countries to go there and offer cryptocurrency and pretty much everything around it, including being a custodian. So now what we're looking to do in a very short period of time is offer lending and staking, which is, you'll hopefully see an announcement in the very short future of when that will be coming online. We think we have a very compelling product, much different than exists today, and it solves a lot of problems that other people have had. And then into the future, we're going to be getting into some NFT marketplaces and a whole plethora of different products that will allow us to achieve this growth and keeping people within our environment and continue to build out the one home where they can do it all. So you're going to see a lot of different things coming from us over the next little while.
Thank you, Justin. I had a little glitch here. You may have noticed that, but I'm back. And I want to come back on one point that you, well, probably 2 points that you mentioned. One, the regulatory recognition, and I think important point to stress. A lot of people are not necessarily aware of that. More importantly, are not aware why it is important. And then the second point, and I'll let you react to both. The second point is crypto currency invoicing. I'm not sure how many people know about that, and how big you think about the trading platform, but this is a totally different business line with tremendous opportunity in there. Could you expand a bit on those two points, and also the pleasure that it is to go through a regulatory process?
Well, yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of sleepless nights. There was a lot of ebbs, a lot of flows, and it was a crazy roller coaster that we went on. For us to even achieve going public, we had to have OSC clearance on our restricted dealer status, which is what we received first. Now we have our market dealer status as well, which is helpful for what we're doing, and we are a full marketplace, so that was necessary. So we could turn back on, because we had to for a short period of time, where clients could face off each other. So there's about 6 or 8 week process where we'd have to face off against every order. So we're glad we have that back, and that was really what we were ultimately looking for. But for timing, restricted dealer was the first piece, as you know about. And working with regulators is never easy. I don't think anyone tells you that is, and especially in a market where there's little understanding for everyday people of what's going on, let alone regulators who are very busy. They don't have time to spend here specifically on what we're doing. So the education process, the collaborativeness, I thank the people that we worked over there. Even though we had some of our heated moments, there's for sure happened. I can name a few that maybe aren't for today, but all in all, what I have to say is they are willing, they are able, and they are trying to work with us to achieve a balanced and fair marketplace for cryptocurrency trading platforms here in Canada. And I'm thankful that we got where we are, and we're only one of 2 who have that marketplace status right now, which gives us a little bit of a head start and increased value to what we're doing. And the market hasn't recognized that yet, but that's something I'm sure we'll talk about shortly. And we'll continue to go down that path. It doesn't stop now. That was just step 1 of many to get where we want. The continued education. We bring our vendors in to help educate, and we're all working together together to achieve what I think some may agree, some might not agree, but for a national body, the CSA, governed for us as our primary dealer being Ontario, we're doing something different than the rest of the world is. And I'm kind of really proud of what my team has done and what we have done to help shape where we're going with this on a national scale. So that's exciting for me. And I know it's something that you spend a long time understanding and even helping out where you could, which we're, I'll say we are, I'm thankful for that. We had some heated phone calls where you and I were riled up about what's going on and some red tape, but listen, everyone's just trying to make a fair, balanced, safe place for Canadian investors. And I can't really say anything bad about that.
No, and it's a stamp of quality now. Huh? That is really what it is. It is a stamp.
Yeah, I think Joss might be having a little bit of an issue there with his connection. Yep. But I think
I'm back. I was saying it's a stamp of quality, but could you zoom in on the second point, the crypto invoicing?
Yeah, I would love to. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do, there's only 1.5% of the world that's using crypto today. Why? It's new. It's still fairly hard to use, and that's sort of what we're changing. Least clicks, the amount of making it more accessible. But we really put a lot of emphasis and conviction into the fact that you're going to want to spend crypto, whether it's not Bitcoin or it's one or the other, Ethereum, or there's a new coin that comes down the road. There's rationale that you have it, you want to use it. And as we move away from traditional banking, that's only going to be amplified. So we've invested a lot of time, energy, money, and we've grown this business sector from early on so that we can make it easier for when people want to buy anything with their crypto, we can do that. So whether it's simply someone saying they want to sell their sailboat and you want to pay 10,000, but you want to pay in crypto for it and sending an invoice, or directly API integrated into your processing, and whether that's your own website or we're working and making partnerships with very large processors and acquirers, where now if you choose Visa, MasterCard, Amex, or crypto, when they click that, we're powering that whole experience where someone can come in. And what we do, the benefits of it for the vendor, the person taking the crypto, is that there's no fraud, there's no chargeback risk. It is way less expensive than processing credit cards. And with our product that we have on the market, there's also no market risk in it, because they can choose whenever, if someone's sending X amount of Bitcoin worth $10,000. Once we receive it, it automatically gets converted to fiat, and you request for that to be sent to your bank on your schedule without any rolling holds or any of these things, traditional problems you might have in typical credit card processing. And we'll see this in multiple industries. And even here in Ontario, the laws are changing for things like gaming corporations, and then they want to use them. So how can we be actively working with them to ensure that we're processing, making it easier, reducing fraud and risk, and reducing the cost for them? That's really what we're spending a lot of time and energy on.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's very exciting. And Justin, if I project myself 3 years in the future, and that's kind of things I'm interested in as an investor. It's also important for me. What are your main streams of revenue? What do you see as being your main streams of revenue as an organization?
Well, as we build out the financial institution in the future, there's a couple of legs that we're really of business lines that we're really paying attention to. One is this crypto processing we just talked about. Second is our retail focused business and offering them all the services they need within it. NFT marketplaces, just spot selling, derivatives, all the pieces under the umbrella. And then another big place that we're going to spend a lot of time and energy into the future is on the banking side of things. We want to make it easier. There's no reason to go into your local TD on the corner, BMO, whatever account is. I look down the street, I see one in every corner here. Unless you're getting cash out, which I don't know many people who use cash at all anymore, and there's really no reasons for that. Or because Canadian banks are so antiquated, you can't send a wire even for $1,000 on a platform, which is crazy. So how can we fix that? You trust us for your crypto, you trust us for your lending, your NFT. Why not also your bank accounts, where you can then simply have a debit and checking account? You can pay your bills like you would normally, wire money, which you can't do as a Canadian, and have all these things and directly make trades in and out of crypto, traditional assets, FX, all in one spot. And that's really what we're building out as the financial institution of the future. And that's where you'll see us. A lot of that will be coming online over the next 12 to 18 months. But in 3 years, I think you'll see that large ecosystem with CoinSmart Financial and this flywheel of all the products you need to service around that.
Very exciting, and I can see lots of revenue streams now suddenly emerging in front of me.
Well, let me just talk to that for 1 second. Canada, we can't do it yet. Europe, I can. That's what's exciting. Yeah. But high interest accounts for crypto. The whole. Let's think about that for a second as a revenue stream. Right now, for us to hold the assets under management and keep them in cold storage, it costs me to store it. It costs me to transfer it. It costs me to insure it. It's a cost center. And as a Canadian exchange, I can't offer lending just yet. So if I could, now it becomes a profit center where these people who are holding money with us are making anywhere from 8 to 12% a year. And the company makes an additional on top of that, 4 to 6%. So instead of a 2% margin we make on every dollars on market right now, with the same assets under management, I can make 4 to 6%, doubling or tripling revenue overnight by adding one single product offering. And that's what, that's what we talk about with the regulators. And why do they want people who are now, they're coming to us because they believe in us. They're buying whatever crypto that they want, and they're sending it to a jurisdiction overseas or, in the islands or wherever it may be that regulators have no jurisdiction over. So how can we do it in the proper way right here? Yep. With trust, transparency, and regulation. And that's a continued conversation. I think we're finding a path forward, and it'll be excited at what we see over the next 6 to 8 months in that realm.
No, and I maintain it is the right way, Justin, because that is how you build trust. That's how you build confidence, investor confidence, a very important word, integrity. And that is what is going to be a very big differentiator in my eyes between an organization that is approaching it your way and those who would be doing it in a different way. I'm a very big believer in regulations and regulators. And yes, sometimes it gets a bit tough and a bit tense and a bit difficult, but it creates confidence. Got a couple of other.
If this was easy, everybody would be doing it. The classic thing. And I like a good challenge. There's no such thing as impossible in my vocabulary. So this is all part of the journey. And when we look back at this in 20 years from ago, show that everyone at the company, it's not just me, has really changed the landscape of what crypto looks like into the future. We're really at the forefront of that, and that's an exciting thing.
No, it is. It absolutely is. I'm going to go a little bit into the questions. Like lots of questions have been coming in, and I'm going to ask you short answers because I'd love to cover quite a few of them. And I have one big question I want to ask you still before, because I can't believe it's already 1:24. Very quick one. Define NFTs.
NFT is a non-fungible token. And I think the use case today is a lot different than the use case that will be in the future. Right now, it's about owning a collectible and knowing that you own it and the provenance of that. And hopefully these things that bring value, because there's only one of one in this situation over time. But where I think NFTs go in the future, which is the more important part, is fractionalization of very expensive assets. So whether it be a sports team or whether it be a piece of real estate, this is using an NFT and fractionalizing that, a $10 million building that you want to buy. You can really go out there and raise that funds. You want to have $1 million worth, but you want $9 million other people's money. You're not going to banks, looking to underwriters, trying to raise capital. You put that out there on the market, and you could have 1 million people come in and invest in that in small pieces and own a piece of the project that you're working on. We see that when sports teams are going to be happening around North America and into Europe. So that's where NFTs are going into the future. I think is a very important piece to what we're doing. But I think it's evolving. We're really early, and interesting enough, and I'll make this short, you'll see if you go look at Google Trends, and the searches for NFTs are going higher than the searches for Bitcoin or crypto right now. So it's a very important piece of the future of cryptocurrency.
Oh, it's a big emerging trend. That's for sure. Second one, I love this. I'm a new CoinSmart customer and active in the crypto space. How secure are digital wallets?
I can't speak for anyone outside of the ones that we use. I think it'd be inappropriate to do so, and I don't give recommendations because those are their businesses and how they run them. But with us at CoinSmart, because we are regulated, we have to be very defined and definitive about what we do. And we keep over 95% of all of our coin in cold storage. That is offline, non-accessible. It needs to be, there's a whole a checklist of things that need to be done to even request some out of it. There's cool off times. That's also insured by these are trust companies that hold more than $100 million in assets, and they fit the national instruments for here for anything that we have in Canada. So it's very defined. Anything that we keep in hot storage, under that 5% amount, which is always being transferred in and out from clients asking for them and moving them around, that is also insured by our hot wallet provider. And we do self-insurance on top of that. So we're doing everything we possibly can, spending a huge amounts of money. It's certainly, as I said, a cost center when it actually could be a revenue generation for us. But right now it is a cost center because of all the insurance and security that we have behind that. So it's something that we think about very regularly. Even to move more than X amount of dollars is a very small amount. We have to have 3 to 4 signers on that going on. And these are people all around the world in different time zones. So we keep things as secure as we possibly can.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important for people again to look at elements like that, and also be aware that it's one of the elements that regulators pay a lot of attention to, and again takes you back to that regulatory approval process and where that makes a difference.
Well, that was one of our biggest sticking points with the regulators, is getting over our custodial partners. And at the end of the day, it's how do we just find the best ones that are institutionally accepted and industry accepted that fit the criteria of more traditional markets when this is non-traditional market.
Yeah. And I think that this probably also answers a little bit of question that comes in about the regulations in North America and how they have been developing also in the US and some of the hesitations over there. I'll take one more question because there's one other one that I really want to put up, which I think is going to be very, very key to our audience. And on this one, I need a 15-second answer, Justin. Where can I find more invoice? And I had to give this one to you. Where can I find more information about how to start invoicing customers in Bitcoin?
Oh, it's a great question. You can just reach out to live chat. That's what we stand for, being there and being able to be talked to when we want to. Or you go to smartpay.coinsmart.com, where you'll see a whole website about it. You can get signed up right away, test it out in minutes, and be done. It's a really easy thing. Or you can just reach out to jh@coinsmart.com. I'll be happy to push you in the right direction.
There you go. I thought I had to give you that one. That's great when you see someone that's listening to you and then immediately wants to figure out how can I do some business with you. I love that. It also means that your value proposition is interesting if you get immediately that kind of reactions. My last question, because we have 1 minute left, but take a little bit more time than that. I'm an investor. Why should I today, when I look at the markets, I look at the uncertainty, I look at everything that's going on, why should I today look at CoinSmart? And neither you or I here are giving any investment advice. I want to be very clear about that. But why should we now be paying attention to CoinSmart as an investment opportunity? Should we maybe wait a little bit longer? Should we see things through? How things are going to develop? Like, what's your view on that?
Yeah, well, I have a very specific view on that. And I think without throwing anyone under the bus or naming any other people out there, if you look at our market comparables, it's just, you see on average of 8 to 12 times their run rate that they're trading at today. When you look at our market cap and you remove our cash on the balance sheet, so we have about $23 million in cash right now, we're trading at a 1.1-ish times our trailing 12 months, not even our current run rate right now in the business. So if you look at our comparison, we're also profitable, where most of the other companies are losing money at this point. We're 4 years younger than the majority of the players that are on the market. We're growing quicker, and we have more licenses in more jurisdictions than the rest of them. So this is truly, and I'm obviously biased, but this is a true blue sky opportunity. We saw a lot of insider buying up into the time in which they weren't allowed, we blacked out as December 31st. And we're below where we came to market. So right now is truly a discount opportunity on a stock that I believe is 2 to 4x below where it should be, simply based on our market comparisons, with some great news that's coming out and really good growth prospects. So this would be the time as an investor, when I looked at a company, if I was doing myself outside of CoinSmart, where I go, this is probably the time I can get in and see some really good returns. If I like the project and I like the people behind it, which is for others to determine once they've had time to watch this event.
Yeah, no, and you make a key point. Like, everyone has to make their own due diligence. Like, don't invest based on hearsay. Don't invest based on something is hot or everyone is excited. But look at the facts. And you gave some very interesting facts about multiples, about profitability, about offerings, about licenses, about being a regulated entity. I think those are all important facts to look at. And one that is always critical to me when I invest in something, the people. Who is behind this organization? Who's running this organization? Very critical elements also. So I would say to everyone, and I think this answers the question, someone was asking a very specific comparison between you and another company, which we're not going to answer, but I think you answered it indirectly in what you just said. But I think to investors, to people who are looking at opportunities, have a good look. That is what you need to do. Have a good look and do the kind of exercise looking at those facts that Justin just brought forward. Justin, I can't believe how quickly this half hour went by. Like, I still have, 5 other questions for you, and questions that lead to 10 other ones. I see questions in the Q&A that we have not answered, and to all those whose questions were not unanswered, again, we're going to make sure that Justin gets them and that he can get back to you. And you can also reach him. I think you were kind enough to give your email address, Justin. So if someone wants to reach out, Justin, as you see, is someone who's available, and I think that's very important. That says a lot also about who you are in your organization. That's lots of focus on service and being there for your customers. But I would say
I couldn't do it without my team, my amazing team, and we do want to make ourselves available. So if there are any questions, please do it. And I'd love to do this again with you sometime, Joss. I love our conversations.
I'd love to do it too, because it almost feels like we scratch the surface and there's more to be discussed. And I would say compliments to what you have achieved. I hope that the audience enjoyed this discussion today. Go and get information about CoinSmart. Justin, I picked up lots of interesting facts today in our conversation, and if I can leave one thought with you before we close this session, that is, spread the word. Like, you got a great story, and you have to make sure that you spread the word, and we'll definitely do our part in helping you with that, with initiatives like Neo Spotlight. With that, I would like to thank the audience for being with us today. For those who were not there, and you're going to wonder, how can you speak to people who are not there? Well, because we're going to put this on social media, so they will be able to see this video afterwards, and I hope that they will truly enjoy it. I think it was very insightful, very valuable information. And Justin, very big thank you for your openness, very big thank you for your thoughts and for sharing your vision, and maybe most importantly, the very sound approach that you are taking to building what the future of finance is. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Joss, and thank you to the whole Neo team. You've been great to work with to this point, and thank you for everything that you continue to do. So I appreciate it, and we'll keep building together.